Wherever you are, allow yourself to settle, to breathe slowly, and to imagine a world that exists just beyond the veil of everyday knowledge. Picture the vast deserts of Nevada stretching endlessly under a bright, scorching sun. Imagine the rolling hills of upstate New York, dotted with small towns and brick laboratories, where the air carries a faint scent of ink and machine oil. Now, picture the dense, silent forests of Washington State, where hidden cabins hum with the quiet energy of experimentation. Beneath these ordinary landscapes, extraordinary work was unfolding. Work not simply aimed at understanding energy, but at bending it, controlling it, mastering it in ways that could reshape the world. Tonight, we journey through the hidden corridors of America's scientific history, exploring laboratories unknown to the public, towns erased from maps, and the brilliant minds who lived in secrecy, quietly chasing the edges of human possibility. In the aftermath of World War II, America emerged not just as a victor, but as a superpower. A nation armed with both technological prowess and the ambition to push the limits of human understanding. The world had already witnessed the staggering destructive power of atomic energy, and now, in the shadow of this revelation, a quieter race began. A race not only against foreign adversaries, but against the boundaries of knowledge itself. The Department of Energy, in its early forms and under several evolving names, embarked on a mission of clandestine research, focusing on alternative energy sources that ranged from experimental nuclear reactors to magnetic propulsion devices. Entire towns existed only on classified maps. Roads led to guarded gates where identities were meticulously checked. Scientists and engineers signed oaths of silence, their everyday lives a careful dance between normalcy and the weight of profound responsibility. Consider for a moment the Project Plowshare experiments of the 1960s. On paper, these were described as peaceful nuclear tests aimed at large-scale engineering projects like digging canals or creating reservoirs. Yet beneath the public narrative lay a world of intense scientific scrutiny. Each detonation was measured with exacting precision. Vibrations traveled through the desert. Radiation patterns were meticulously recorded, and theoretical models were stress-tested to gauge not only the explosive power, but the potential applications of released energy. Engineers and physicists, standing at safe distances, often had hands trembling with a mixture of excitement and fear, knowing that the data they collected could unlock technologies that existed only in the realm of possibility, or lead to consequences beyond imagining. Declassified journals revealed the meticulous calculations, complex formulas, and conceptual experiments that, if misapplied, could shift the balance of energy dominance on a global scale.
Not all secret projects were as visually spectacular. In laboratories hidden near the Great Lakes, physicists devoted their days to exploring magnetic confinement and superconducting energy transfer. The theories behind these experiments were sound, but practical implementation often seemed to verge on the miraculous. Superconducting loops capable of transferring energy without loss, generators that challenged conventional thermodynamics, and experiments with ionized plasma hinted at a mastery of energy science decades ahead of its time. These laboratories were shrouded not only in secrecy, but also in bureaucracy. Layers of permission and oversight meant that even the brightest minds struggled to see the full picture. The psychological toll on these researchers was immense. Some believed they were on the verge of a revolutionary breakthrough, while others feared their discoveries might be buried forever, or worse, weaponized for purposes they could not control. Amid deserts, forests, and hidden facilities, life went on. Towns like Los Alamos were far more than scientific centers. They were living, breathing communities. Children played on streets where the faint uranium glow of nearby labs cast subtle reflections at night. Parents discussed complex physics over dinner, sometimes unaware of the full extent of their neighbors' work. Cafes and diners became informal think tanks where the aroma of coffee mingled with animated debates on nuclear fusion, magnetic energy, and emerging technologies. This fusion of ordinary life with extraordinary work created a culture of tension and anticipation, a society delicately balanced between daily routines and groundbreaking discovery. Beyond the boundaries of these communities, mountains stood silent, rivers flowed unbothered, and forests whispered, unaware of the radical forces being probed just beyond their edges. Political context further intensified the secrecy and urgency. The Cold War loomed like a shadow over every decision. National leaders demanded rapid results, yet disclosure to the public or even Congress was limited and heavily filtered. Congressional oversight often amounted to symbolic gestures, while military advisors pushed boundaries in anticipation of technological applications that could redefine defense and propulsion. Correspondence between scientists and officials from this era reflects a constant negotiation, a balance between imagination, morality, and national interest. Ethical dilemmas were never abstract. Could energy research intended to benefit humanity also become a weapon of unprecedented scale? Such questions were lived realities, shaping decisions that would reverberate across decades.
The narrative of America's secret energy projects is also one of incremental, quiet evolution. Experiments that might have once seemed fringe, early solar panels, geothermal research, and wind power prototypes were quietly informed by decades of clandestine experimentation. Patterns of energy transfer, magnetic resonance, and plasma behavior, once confined to hidden labs, now underpin modern scientific literature. Yet much of this history remains obscured, hidden in declassified files, personal diaries, and whispered recollections. Researchers who had lived through these projects often spoke in riddles, hinting at breakthroughs that could have powered entire nations had they not been constrained by secrecy, politics, and fear of public panic. One particularly illustrative tale centers on a prototype energy amplification generator tested in a secluded California facility. Engineers reported phenomena that appeared to defy conventional physics, resonances that in theory could amplify energy output far beyond any known limits. Witness accounts describe a laboratory glowing with an unnatural brilliance, instruments fluctuating unpredictably, and a sense of anticipation mingled with apprehension. Funding limitations, bureaucratic caution, and fears of mass public alarm curtailed further experimentation. The generator, dismantled and buried in classified archives, became one of countless projects whose brilliance was tempered by restraint. Here emerges a paradox: humanity's hunger for discovery constrained by the very institutions established to protect it. Throughout these decades of hidden work, the human dimension becomes unmistakably clear. Scientists were not mere technicians, they were visionaries, risk-takers, and sometimes reluctant participants in forces beyond their control. Diaries and memoirs reveal nights spent in anxious contemplation, questioning whether humanity was ready to wield the power they were uncovering. Anxiety mingled with exhilaration as instruments whirred, lights blinked, and energy unfolded before them in unpredictable ways. Many carried the weight of secrecy into retirement, their contributions nearly mythic in scope. Yet it was precisely this veil of silence that preserved the integrity of their experiments, allowing energy science to advance with caution, respect, and at times humility. The geographical breadth of these projects is remarkable. From deserts in Nevada to coastal laboratories, from mountains to inland facilities, a web of experimentation stretched across the nation. Each site tells a story of tension and ingenuity. Military oversight, political urgency, and human psychology intertwined to produce achievements that, while hidden, laid the foundation for the technologies we take for granted today. Nuclear fusion research, magnetic energy studies, and early renewable experiments all carry echoes of these clandestine origins. The past, in this sense, is not distant. It whispers through every modern scientific breakthrough, every experimental prototype, and every innovation born of careful, methodical inquiry. As these secret histories come to light, we see a pattern of paradoxes. Humanity's relentless curiosity, when paired with the constraints of secrecy and political caution, produces both remarkable ingenuity and careful restraint. Today, when we observe the use of solar, wind, or geothermal energy, we trace the lineage of knowledge back to laboratories that existed in silence. The experimentation of the mid-20th century, hidden behind guarded gates and bureaucratic walls, informs every contemporary application of energy science. What was once classified, once perilous, now quietly illuminates cities, powers communities, and inspire ongoing exploration.
Consider today walking through the deserts of Nevada, or through the forests of Washington, or along the shores of the Great Lakes.
beneath the surface, in archives, in long-forgotten laboratory buildings, in the memories of those who participated, lie untold stories. Each blueprint, each journal, each faint trace of a secret experiment carries the weight of decades of innovation, ambition, and restraint. The human quest to harness energy, both literal and metaphorical, defines the very edge of curiosity. It reminds us that knowledge, while powerful, is fragile, and that the ethical, moral, and political frameworks surrounding discovery are as important as discovery itself. And perhaps, just perhaps, in these hidden histories, there are lessons yet to be learned. Lessons about patience, caution, imagination, and the delicate balance between secrecy and openness. Lessons about human psychology, the tension between individual brilliance and collective responsibility, and the profound impact that even a single innovation can have on the course of nations. These are not stories of mere technology. They are stories of the human spirit, of ambition tempered by morality, and of a quiet heroism that often goes unrecognized. So as you reflect on America's secret energy projects, remember that behind every innovation lies not only intellect, but also ethical consideration. Behind every breakthrough, there is a story of people, scientists, engineers, politicians, and citizens who navigated uncertainty and risk. Their achievements were hidden, their contributions largely unrecognized, but their legacy endures, quietly shaping the modern world. And perhaps in these hidden histories we find guidance for the challenges of the future. A reminder that curiosity, tempered with wisdom, can illuminate paths that secrecy and caution alone cannot. If this exploration of America's secret energy projects has captured your imagination, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, to journey deeper into the hidden corridors of history, and to discover the untold stories that have shaped the modern world. Every week, we reveal secrets that illuminate not only science, but the human experience itself. Hit the bell icon, join this journey, and never miss a hidden chapter of history waiting to be discovered.